Family. Come on in, come on in, come on in. We finally here. Diddy trials. Hey man, we heard, we thought Diddy was a wild boy. Boy, after this shit Cassie saying, Diddy, hey man, Diddy a whole new zest monster, bro. I'm talking about Diddy is the leader of the Zest University, bro. This man Diddy was doing all type of wild stuff, man. But I've only heard bits and pieces of, I'm on social media all the time. I see, like, you feel me? They're talking about Diddy wanted Cassie to rub somebody else's balls on his nipples. The fuck type shit was Diddy really on, bro? This man Diddy is out of control, bro. Out of control, family. Man, this lady right here, I can't think her name. I'm sorry, pardon. I'm gonna have all the links in the description and all that good stuff. But she giving us details of what Cassie said on the stand. And man, when I say it gets nasty, man. We're gonna jump into this.
Steps of the freak offs. There's about 5 or 6 steps that she broke down. So she said that, at first, step 1 would be this descriptive foreplay. So she says the male escort would get there, and Puff would help her choose the male escort, right? Like it would be allegedly Puff would help her choose the male escort. So there would be, photos sent to her through agencies, or she said they would even enlist on Craigslist at some points. If not,
Did you rich as hell finding freaks on Craigslist? That's some crackhead shit.
Craigslist. She said at one point they did back page, and she wouldn't put.
Who would know? Who would have thought Diddy and Cassie on Backpage looking for hoes? That's crazy. And I'm talking about men too, not just women hoes.
Put up the ad, but she would have to answer to the ad using her actual contact information, is what she said. So she said they would get they would figure out who the men would be. The prosecutor asked, were there any specific requests when you were finding these men? And she said, at one point, the only thing would be the man would have to be a black man with a big dick. She said, but at a certain point, it expanded.
I'm talking about the zest is out of control already, bro. We just getting into it. We already letting you know how weird this shit finna get.
Where, you know what I mean? They would just pick the men together. So descriptive foreplay would be first. So the guy would.
I mean, if you going to your gal, like, I'm trying to, I'm trying to spice things up, find somebody to bring in a room with us. You're going to assume she going to bring home a female. Nah, they didn't want you to go get a man.
Come in, they would be touching each other, masturbating, and she would have to out loud describe everything to Diddy, whether he was in the room or not. Then it would go to step 2, which would be touching. So at this point, they're rubbing baby oil on each other, lubricant. But she says that there was like a thing with with the baby oil. Like there was like almost like an alleged like fascination where they would oil almost every 5 minutes because that's what Diddy wanted. He wanted you to be oiled to a certain.
I'm talking about Diddy said he like it slippery. You hear me? I'm talking about why so much baby oil, fully covered baby oil every 5 minutes. If you ain't slippery, something ain't right. Hey man, Diddy a wild boy.
To a certain extent, she made it very clear that they were a very choreographed event. It's so crazy because when she described the freak offs, I'm not even gonna hold y'all. I was like, it sounds like he was directing a music video, which I mean, but it sounded like that. Like she said, at one.
She said it sounded like he's putting up a music video together. That's crazy.
Point, it would only be like, they would get extra linens. There would be a ton of baby oil and different lubricants, and it would be really messy because there'd be lubricant and oil everywhere, candle wax everywhere. But and these were actually smell good candles. She said that he always wanted to make sure it smelled really good. And she said that eventually the candles moved from candles to actual like lighting, like studio lighting or almost like party lighting. And they showed a photo of Puff in the court in a background at, just like the red light that you would get from like Amazon. But she said that these were actually actual studio lights that could change on demand to different colors. She says that She alleges that Puff would even step in sometimes and be like, yo, y'all not oiled enough. Like, y'all need to oil more. Step 3 would then go to oral sex. She says that sometimes she would even like speed it up. Like, she's alleging that, you know, at certain points, she wouldn't want to be doing it so bad that she would speed up the touching just to get to the oral sex so she could get it over with. And then step 4 would be the actual intercourse. Now, she said, depending on how familiar they were with the escorts, because they had some of their favorites. They listed a couple people that they dealt with a couple times, including the man who allegedly was in the room the day that the day that video that dropped on CNN happened. That escort is from a company that they work with all the time, and he was actually a familiar escort as well, if he was even in the room, because that's alleged, right? But she said that he was today. But depending on how familiar they were with these escorts, one of the escorts will be able to actually have sex with her while Diddy was having sex with her. So when she broke that down, she said, you know, like maybe one guy would be like having sex with her while she's giving Puff head, or vice versa. She just said it would be a lot going on. She said,
Like, what type of, I won't even say normal because normal is not normal, but what type of man want to invite another man in there to bust his old lady down, bro? That's the weirdest shit I've ever heard, bro. That's strange, gang. Like I said, if you're going to you're going to get her to bring other women in, you get her to bring other men in, that says way too much about you, brother.
now there were certain times where Diddy would just want to watch, or even if he didn't watch, it would be a thing where they would have to come on her. And again, we've heard the male escort that was on the stand. I feel like some of her testimony today
And man, it seemed like Diddy wanted to watch Corn in real life, you know? It seemed like Diddy said, I don't want the sight. Forget the sight. I need this right in my face. Like,
it made him not look as crazy because Cassie.
Nothing makes him look not crazy. I'm sorry. All this shit, he insane.
They would have to come on her. And again, we've heard the male escort that was on the stand. I feel like some of her testimony today kind of made him not look as crazy because Cassie said in her testimony today, she alleged that whenever they did come on her, Diddy would want her to keep it. They would go into a separate room and she would have to rub it on him. And they would go into the next room and allegedly.
What? So you want this guy to bust on your gal? You want her to save it and rub it on you? This, man, that's disgusting. That's beyond freaky. That's not freaky. That's disgusting.
Diddy would want the escort to come on his body. And I believe she said it was on his nipples. Yes, Diddy allegedly would want to come on his chest or his nipples. She said at some points the freak offs could go with, allegedly 1 to 4 different men, and they would do different sessions. So it'd be different men, different sessions throughout the time period.
It sounded like all they was bringing was men. Diddy said, I got one woman. That's enough women for me. I need some men's in here. No. That's wild, bro. You having all these freak offs and it's a whole bunch of men in there. It ain't even a whole bunch of women. It's just Cassie, you, and a whole bunch of dudes. Nah.
And it would last for hours. And she said sometimes as she was being fucked, or even afterward, like they would have conversations about it, and Diddy would ask her allegedly about the penis. Like, he would ask her, how did it feel? What did it look like? How did it make her feel? And she also admitted during this, and I know that
Diddy is a real deal pole chaser, gang. This man is a real deal zesty pole chaser.
Prosecution, the defense is going to lean in a lot on this. She admitted to having a lot of the freak off videos on her phones. She says that it wasn't just on her devices though either. She says that it was shared. Like, sometimes she'd do it on her phone, sometimes she'd do it on his phone. It would be on camcorders. She alleged that it was between the two of them already. So within the first 10 minutes, she was already emotional and crying, but it wasn't like a hard, crazy cry. It was like a, just her. She was tearing. She was actually really, really strong. Like, I was actually pretty surprised at how strong she was with all the circumstances, right? Because you got to think about it. She's sitting not only in front of Puff, who's looking straight at her the whole time, directly straight at her the whole time. But she's sitting in front of his family, his mother, his children, you know, some of the other children's moms that she has spent so much of her life with and built so many of these memories, good and bad, with. She mentioned a lot of drugs, a lot of drugs. Said that at one point during the freak offs, they were so high that they lasted for like 3 days. And she said, and the prosecutors asked her, well, at what point would you sleep? She said, I wouldn't. You know, and I'm not even gonna hold y'all, like there were a lot of moments where she had some explaining to do. Like there was text messages where she texted and said she wanted to freak off so bad. And this was the day of.
Oh, so we got you sitting up here telling us you didn't want to do all this stuff, but we got text messages of you telling Diddy like you want to play, like you with the freak offs. Alright, fuck around, let Diddy beat these charges. I'm telling you, because the details she giving the details. But she say she ain't with it. But they got proof that she was hitting Diddy up like, nah, I want to do this. Now, you wanted that money and that power. That's what you wanted. You wanted the lifestyle that came with Diddy, but then it was, you got to take all that come with it then.
The video, the CNN video, the Cassie beating video, she talked about just all of the supplies that they would have. Body oil, baby oil, candle wax, extra linens. She said there'd be blood on linens because a lot of times she was made to have sex on her period and she didn't want to.
Nasty. Diddy, that's how you living, Diddy. She said, I'm bleeding. You said, so? You can't get another bitch for a week, gang?
She said there'd be blood on linens because a lot of times she was made to have sex on her period and she didn't want to. She alleges that she didn't want to. She says that there'd be a lot of times where there'd be urine on her and on the linen. And she said and she alleged that at some points it wouldn't even just be male escorts that would be peeing on her, that it would be Diddy and male escorts at the same time, sometimes is what she alleged. And she said that at one point, like she remembered.
So R. Kelly got that from P. Diddy, huh? All right, let me find out Diddy and R. Kelly the same person, man. Like I said, fetishes and being freaky, it's a lot of weird things people do out here. I'm never gonna understand somebody wanting to get peed on, bro, or wanting to pee on somebody. How could that turn you on, bro? You know? Hey, man, but there's some weird people out here in this world.
Just choking from it. And the prosecutors asked her, like, well, why didn't you just get up? Why didn't you tell him that this wasn't something you wanted to do? And she was like, I mean, I was so high, and you got two men standing over top of you. You're laying in the ground. Like, what am I going to do besides just put my hands up? Y'all know what? I was just trying to figure out. You want to say hi to my video? Yeah. Say hey. Tell them about your YouTube channel.
Celebrity Scandal.
This has been one of my media friends that I met. I met so many people on the line and covering this case, but we were just talking about today, and I wanted to come back and tell y'all because I couldn't really put it into words how today made me feel, because like it didn't give sex trafficking and all that yet, even though they have talked about him paying for people to fly across state line. And I know they're gonna get to it, but I was like, how did today make me feel? And then I was like, you know what? It didn't make me after watching her and detailing her history with him and all of that. It's going to take a lot to convince me that she's just out to get him for no reason. Like, I got a girl who was young, really, really in love. She was even very hesitant to answer some of the questions. Like, you could tell that, like, it's her nature to still kind of protect him a little bit. Right? You got that too?
Yeah.
Yeah, like when they asked her, I forget what it was. I wrote the questions down, but and I'll make a separate video on that. But there were certain questions they were asking her, and I'm like, man, she don't even really want. Oh, they asked her why did they move to LA, and she was like, you know, his family, and I respected that. And she was like, but what do you mean his family? Like exactly why? And she was like, his family. And
She said he wanted to be closer to his family.
Wanted to be closer to his family, and I'm like, she won't even go into detail about his certain personal things. In the beginning, that was in the beginning of the testimony. She did open up, but when I saw that, I'm like, man, she really loved this man, like OD, like honestly, like so. It gave you empathy. That's the word, and it made me be like, okay, I can hear him out now. Because first, they're not gonna hold you to defense. Shut it down. It made me be like, oh, y'all gonna have to come real correct, because I don't know if I believe.
Hey, there you have it, man. Just the first day. We'll stay tuned into this trial and see what Cassie say and who else get on the stand and all these other good things. But right now, it's looking real crazy for Diddy, man. That man was out here doing some diabolical things in these rooms, man. It's crazy, like what power can make you feel like you can get away with. That's crazy, man. But y'all let me know what y'all think about this situation. Any other thing y'all want me to react to, y'all already know. Drop it in the comments. I'm going to keep this content jumping. But until next time, until next review, peace.